Hi, I'm Whitney Horton with the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center, and I'm currently serving as the programs manager of the state, and I'm very excited to be talking about establishing your food or beverage business through the Share Grounds program. Just to give you a little bit of background about the ASBTDC and our services, so as you move through this process and become more knowledgeable and experienced business owners, we definitely want to make sure you know about the free and confidential business consulting that our office provides to anybody across the state. We can be here to help you write your full out business plan, to do more in-depth market research so you can know more about those target customers that you're looking to sell your product to. We can definitely help people put together their financial projections. That's normally the place that people want to run and hide from. But we know how important it is to understand where your money's coming from and how much you're spending on your supplies and different things. We're also here to help you with just traditional and online marketing and pretty much anything that you're going to need to know about running your business successfully and being on the path to grow into the future. We want to be here to assist you do that. So I am located here at the Lead Center in Little Rock, based at UA Little Rock. But as you can see, we also have 6 other regional offices around the state. If you are in a particular county, you'll be able to see here which office of ours that we would want you to contact, simply because you know, people that are up in the Jonesboro area know those lenders and know those communities a lot better than I may know here in Little Rock, and we want to make sure that y'all are working with people that live in the area that you're looking to sell your food or beverage. So what I really wanted to be able to speak about today, you know, establishing these food and beverage businesses, there's really about 5 stages that we have seen with working with food businesses over the years. Prior to me moving into this program manager role, I worked as a business consultant for the office for about 10 years. And for some reason, everyone always ended up sending me the food truck clients or people that were making food at home under the cottage law, or just really any of our food stuff in general, because I just really like food, but also it's such a unique and interesting type of industry, and we want to make sure that that all of these areas are really focused on as you're moving through the process. So as you can see, y'all are already definitely in the first stage where you have this concept of what you're wanting to sell and something that you've probably been crafting for a long time, whether it be the recipe or whatnot. Stage 2, you know, you're developing kind of your plan for everything, and then you're getting into what we call that soft launch, where you might be testing that out on some friends and family, getting their feedback, maybe adjusting some of your recipe a little bit, figuring out just how far you're willing to drive or how many maybe markets or whatnot that you're able to go to sell the product, you know, feasibly with your time. And then obviously go into this official launch, and then hopefully continue to grow and maybe end up with your own brick and mortar at some stage. So typically what we've always seen with the ASBTDC is you want to write out a full business plan, just because it helps you do what I've always called that brain dump. And you're able to get all of the thoughts and processes and ideas and structures out of your head and down on paper. And sometimes things can look a little bit different on paper versus how it's all been floating around in your head. And you may see, oh, okay, that's a really horrible idea. Why would I ever want to do that with my business? And it just helps you plan out some things and kind of organize things for more focused thinking for your business. But as you're doing this, for this project and kind of in this soft launch, early concept phase and developing some different things, what I think is really fantastic for everyone to use in this case is what we call this lean canvas, because it will go ahead in a 1-page document and be able to help you create and deliver and show what value that your product has for the potential customers. So what we're going to end up doing here shortly is going through each of these segments that you see here on this on the screen, and you can go online and basically search for a lean canvas template, And you'll see there's a ton of examples of these out there, but they all circle back to these particular segments. And what we want to do is go through each of them and understand what we're trying to talk about here. And then what you'll end up doing is being able to say, what will I do based on these instructions to be able to complete this section for my food or beverage business? So the major first section that we want to look through is your customer relationship. I will probably harp on this multiple times, but really understanding who your target customer is, where they're coming from, how often they're going to shop from you. Are they willing to go and shop for all of the rest of their grocery items at one store and then make a completely separate drive to meet you where you're at for your particular product or beverage? So you really want to understand the personalization with these customers. How do you talk to them? How do you make them feel super important? And crafting the message that really relates to them. Really think about your branding and the color that you're going to use. If you do have employees that are going to be working with you, it is imperative that you make sure that your employees are on board with your same mission and values and, basically love for the product that you've created, because they may be the ones that are interacting with these customers and they need to be able to share that vision in the same way you do as the creator. You may be thinking, is it videos that these customers are really going to like seeing? One big thing that is trending currently is people online love watching the videos, and especially the behind the scenes videos, because we feel like we're getting to peek behind the curtain and kind of understand how all of this was done. And we get to see just how much work you're doing to bring this product to life. And that can kind of spawn them to take that extra step, to take that extra drive, to come and meet you to get this food or beverage from a separate place than they've typically been going. And any type of promotional activities that you can do. So what you want to do as we continue to go through this is each of these bullet points, you want to be thinking about, how am I going to promote to these key customers and keep this relationship? What type of videos could I do? And just really answering these based on your food or beverage. So when we go into the customer segments, really thinking about who is that target customer. And when it says, who are they? Please do not tell me that everyone is your customer, because everyone is not your customer. There are going to be people that could potentially be your customer, but they're 400 miles away and they're probably not going to drive to you. You want to really think about all of the demographics that go into who they are. Like I said earlier, how often they're going to buy. Are they really active to where they will be one of those people that will get online and tell everyone how wonderful your food or beverage is? And then thinking about just the trends in the industry. Are they food conscious type of people? Are they very motivated by organic branding? Are they into the keto lifestyle, for instance? So anything that you can do to speak directly to their buying habits, their purchasing type of power, and anything that with their lifestyle that you can do. We want to understand every little nitty gritty detail you can about these customers, because you need to fully understand them to be able to talk to them through your marketing. So the major thing here is you can see that you have your offer, which is your product. And then there's another little section of the world, and it tells us what the customers actually need. And then there's this third section, which is the whole marketplace, because you are likely going to have competition from day one that you're out there selling your food or your beverage. And so you've got to understand, this is what I have, this is what they need, this is everybody else. And that little piece of pink area right there in the middle is really your value proposition. And what this represents is what makes you special and what will make people change their buying habits with another competing type of product to now move over to yours. And, there are people that have been loyal to certain types of food, certain types of beverages, because they're local and community based, and they will, they've been buying that stuff for maybe 15 years. You've got to find a way to show them how, your product is just a little bit different, or could maybe even be an addition to something that someone else is already selling. So this could be, a lot of these are your examples of this. You know, do you use high quality, super fresh ingredients? Are you really different because you have well-trained employees? I have a client out of Cabot who has a vinegar and oil type of store. And one thing that she's done, because people are like, I can get, you know, quality vinegar and oil type of things to cook with really anywhere. Well, what she's done is herself and with her employees is trained them into being able to have conversations with customers about, if you purchase this particular oil, you can use it with ABC type of foods, or you can use it in this type of recipe, and this is how it completely changes that dish. And so when you are able to give them kind of a personalized conversation like that, that could really change the game for you. You know, is it your location? Are you really convenient? Do you deliver? I don't think this is going anywhere, because we are seeing all of the click list type of apps. We're seeing all the grocery pickups. You know, people are getting busier and busier. And if you have the ability to do that delivery, whereas some of your competition doesn't, that could really set you apart. You know, any of these type of things that are listed here, especially any customization to the types of needs. So if you're like, you know, keto is one of those things that everyone is seeing pop up around, and a lot of even large major brands are starting to restructure part of their menu items to customize for those particular type of diets. So the next section you think about is that are those distribution channels, and this is really just how are you going to get the product to the customer. Are you going to try to get it in with restaurants? Are you going to go to all of the farmers markets? Is it really doing a lot of push on social media and letting people know about where they can pick it up or where they can order, you know, different events? And really, word of mouth is going to be absolutely key for a lot of these type of products, just because people are kind of stingy with their money, and they don't necessarily want to go out and buy something without getting someone telling them that it's really good, or it's totally worth the money, or yeah, it's $2 more than what you might typically buy salsa for, but it you know, is life changing. So thinking about how are you going to get that product to all of those people who are spending money. And then the last couple of areas before we get into the money is thinking about who are your key partners in this. You know, is it those farmers markets? Is it different retail stores? Are you going to maybe have, I had another client who does homemade salsa, and they do not sell in any big box type of stores, but they do sell around town in different restaurants, so that people also are having to go into those restaurants and hopefully become a patron of that local business before they end up purchasing that salsa. And then thinking, how are you going to get the message out that your product or service is available through your key activities? So will you do a push on social media? Can you do Kickstarter type of campaigns and certain things like this? Or if you need to raise, you know, a small amount of money and you have a large network of friends and family, or just people in general that love your product already, you can do these Kickstarter campaigns to let people donate into a fund for your business and be able to help you kind of get some of that cash flow up and running from the beginning. And then, you know, what are your key resources that you're going to need to utilize to make sure that everyone knows about your food or beverage? What's your type of marketing? How are you going to structure that? Is it all online? Is it all traditional? Spoiler alert, you need a website and you need an online presence for your marketing, especially a website. A lot of people these days still think, oh, I don't really need that. Nobody really checks the website anymore, but you need a good, at least, landing page that tells the story about you as the owner and tells the story about why this food or beverage is so important and so special to you, that you would start making it in larger quantities. Is it a recipe that was handed down through generations of family? People love to see those type of stories. One thing that always comes to mind, and this is probably why I always ended up with the food clients, is the famous Amos cookies. I always ended up reading the story of how Famous Amos developed the recipe and all of that on the back anytime I had one of those boxes. So people love getting the backstory on that. You know, who are going to be your distributors? You know, how are you going to train your employees? And then just overall, what's that branding going to look like? And how is it going to stand out on a shelf? Costs. Nobody ever wants to talk about the money when it comes to this type of stuff, but you have got to be successful, fully understand every little penny that goes into creating your food or your beverage on a large scale. So, you know, how much are all of your ingredients going to be? How much is the rent for the space? How much is it for like your different marketing? That's another thing. People a lot of times will skimp on their marketing budget and say, oh no, I'll handle it all on my own and I can do it for free. But I want you to always remember that if you're not spending money on marketing, then there's really a potential that customers don't know that you even exist. And so you would need to spend that money so that people can come spend money with you. And really understanding not just the cost of one recipe, but if you order in large quantities for your ingredients, being able to narrow that down to exactly how much of a cost of flour, for instance, if you order a pound of flour, how much of that is going to go into each individual product that you're making? How much are maybe the jars that you're putting all of this in, and based on if you're ordering in bulk or not. So you just want to know every little detail of something that you're going to be spending money on for your business. I just always say, imagine you've got this magical business credit card, and anything that you're going to have to swipe that card for to get up and running and create your first large quantity of everything, that's going to be the costs that are associated that you need to be thinking about. And then thinking about just your overall revenue. So what are those costs that are always going to be happening, whether you sell anything or not? You know, so that's like your fixed expenses with your rent. If you have utilities, if you are paying yourself, any of those things that you will always pay. And then also just be thinking about those other types of expenses that, you know, you're not going to be ordering more and more ingredients if you've still got a ton of ingredients that have a long shelf life. And so you want to be able to think about that. Understanding what is your pricing going to be. We have resources that can help people understand, okay, well, I know that it cost me this much to create this one individual jar of my food. So now we need to understand in this industry and in this market, this is the typical markup for that, because you've got to understand how much it costs to make so you can do that pricing. Because if you price it too low, then really this isn't turning into a business. This is turning into a very expensive hobby. And we definitely want people to be making enough money off of everything that they're selling so that they can continue to grow and possibly be in more locations. And any of those things that are one-time payments, just go ahead and have an understanding of that. So overall, just a couple of last things is you really want to establish a niche in the market and understand your industry. You know, really, it says here, do your research. This is going into, if you're in the coffee business, understanding everything about the coffee industry from a very high footprint, like if you're looking at the industry as a whole, but also go around and understand the different coffee shops in your local community. Look at what people are ordering. Look at how long people are staying. Look at how long people or how many things they go back for refills for, and understanding that. And talk to people in your community about, you know, what would make this salsa, you know, a little bit different than anything else that we have here. Obviously, make your products delicious and let people try it out and let them give you feedback and tell them that you want honest feedback. And I will tell you, I understand wholeheartedly that this food or beverage that you have created is your baby. But sometimes we need to be told some things about our baby to make them even better. So don't get upset if people say, oh, well, it might have been just a little too vinegary. You know, you want to know these things now before you start making things in large quantities and spending a lot of money. Give your brand that personality. This includes you when you're doing online marketing or any type of videos. You know, show people the fun side of you. This is one industry where you don't have to be so business-like rigid. You can really have fun with it and letting people see you, because half the time they're there for that food or that product that you're selling, but a lot of times too they want to come meet you. And definitely figure out your price to make sure that it is enough to keep you going and get people in the door. Make sure you go through and understand all of the food laws and regulations, please, because in these industries, there's a lot more than in a lot of others. You know, it says here, write your business plan, do this lean canvas first, and then when you're ready to kind of grow out a little bit more, certainly write that business plan and get all of those details a little bit more into there. You know, raise a little bit of money, get started small so that you can start testing out the market, and you know, just invite people and let people know what you're doing. And it says, you know, establish a culture. Well, it's that culture and that personality and are a way to get people to be very loyal to your product. So last couple of things, if you want to see anything from our website, we have a ton of free resources available for you. We've got tons of videos. If you go to the website, you'll get to see what my face looks like, because they like to use me on all the videos, walking through business plans and home-based business types of questions and insurance questions and all of that. One of the major things I would encourage you to go look at, we have these 3 free ebooks that you can download. The one in the middle, license permits and tax requirements, it goes through a full checklist of everything you need to do to establish your business legally in the state in the order, and also gives you an idea of which offices to call based on certain questions that you have. And then the blue book is all about the different funding opportunities and ways that you can do that here in Arkansas, whether it's through traditional lending or some of that crowdfunding that we were talking about, or SBA loans, or whatever it may be. So see, there I am. You can, as you get to the point where you want to write out that full business plan, we have a template on our website. It's called To the Point, and it has just bullet point questions in there that you're able to go through very quickly. After you've done this lean canvas that we talked about today, you're pretty much about 85% of the way through for your full out business plan. So you'll already be leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people in that role. And if you ever need anything from the ASBTDC, wanted to make sure you all had my contact information, shoot me an email, give me a call. If you just have general questions, or you may not know which office do I call, I'm always available to answer any questions. And thank you all, and good luck on your food and beverage endeavors.